Pretty good.
And, I know there's always
They had to match ours. We know we're a physical team. We know they're a physical team. And that was our message going in, that they got to match our physicality. And again, that's a very physical team. That's a well-coached team. That's a team with a lot of good players. But, yeah, I'd like the question rephrased a little differently.
Saquon kind of bottled up a lot of the day, but what broke on that 25-yard touchdown?
Yeah, 103 yards, you can say that. But what broke was we got through the interior of it with the way we blocked it. We had Jordan on that one pulling. He did a good job getting through. We sealed it off on the front side. And then you have two receivers. When plays break for big ones, there's receivers doing something good on that, like Covey last week against L.A., getting the block. AJ had a good block last week against L.A. And then this was Jahan and Paris running off, which is something that is not like when you run off and now the running back can run to space instead of them getting a block there. So that's something we talk about a lot. So Paris and Jahan run off. Saquon can run away from the pursuit from the inside with his speed, and then those guys finish blocks over there. So that's just good team football. Really good job. Really proud of those guys. It was. I always get excited when guys run off. That's something we always talk about, and it was cool to go congratulate. I got a little bit of a warning for going down too far, but when those guys make plays like that, of making plays, and Saquon's going to get all the credit for that play as he should, but it started with the offensive line and it finished with the receivers.
To be down 9 and rebound and recover, what did you make of that today?
Yeah, we're a resilient team, but 9 in the first quarter. A lot of football left to play. So, resilient team, done a lot of different things. We were a determined team. I think that was noticeable all week of how determined this football team is. When there could be distractions with holidays, and Thanksgiving's a great holiday, but it's still a distraction in our eyes at the beginning. We've enjoyed the rest of the day, but they were so locked into that. And then it could be a distraction of coming back from an afternoon off. But these guys didn't miss a beat. That really shows you the leadership of this football team, of just being locked in and being hungry, being humble. And this was a good win for us. It's a good football team that we just played with a lot of good players. Can't tell you how much respect I have for their coaches, their coaching staff, both sides of the football, special teams wise, everything. Coach Harbaugh is a great coach. Obviously, he's been a great coach in this league for a long time. And so that was a good challenge, and that's a good win for us to go home with.
Along those lines, I guess, what did you learn about the defense in a matchup like this against that Ravens offense?
Tough, physical. We showed some clips of us against Derrick Henry in 2022. Because obviously he's a big-time player with a great offensive line, and so he had some good runs. There's no doubt, but we just kept coming and were resilient. Effort to the football. They were very determined to show how physical we were. You could see Chauncey coming up and laying some hits on there that were really finishing off hits legally, and we got good pressure, and obviously Lamar is such a good football player, was able to get out of some things, but we had some good consistent pressure against a good offensive line with our defensive line. And so it was muddy. We forced them to go the long way, and they had some explosives, and that's going to happen against a good team, and especially against a quarterback like Lamar. But made them go the long way, which was huge, and so that's what you saw there with our defense today.
The sequence of punting on 4th and 2, pinning them back, forcing the 3 and out, going down and score. What did that do for the game, you feel?
I think it's just so critical of the things that we talk about all the time. We spend so much time on backed up on plus 50 punting. We show it. We talk about it so much. We show all the ones from college in the week. We show all the ones from the NFL in the week because we know how critical it is if you can back a team up and you can get a stop, that usually equals points. And so it was a great, Braden, they didn't catch their balls and we caught ours. That's a big deal. Like that's like high school football. That's something I learned from my brother so long ago of like, just catch the punt, right? And our guys caught the punt. Covey did a great job of coming up on some punts that were short and caught them. And that's something that's not gonna be looked at, like, unless I say this. in the stat sheet, but Covey comes up and catches a punt that's kind of short and saves us. One of them, I thought it was like 14 yards field position, and another one was like 26 yards field position. Y'all can go relook at that. And then they let some punts hit. Now, why did they let some punts hit? Because we got such good rush down the field by Sidney and Keeley, where they kind of had it was a little messy down there, so they let them hit and we got them pinned down inside the one. To me, that is such good detail of our special teams and the things that they were doing. Hats off, we had a couple penalties on special teams, and we're going to be sick about those. But Coach Clay did such a good job of getting those guys ready. And that's a huge deal because we got a stop, we got another stop. I think both of them led to points. So great job by Braden. He'll get the stat line that says, hey, pinned him inside the 5 once and at the 1 another time. But really good job by Sidney. Really good job by Keeley to go down there and force number 16 to not catch that punt and get that thing down in. Those are huge. Those are things that you get so excited about as a football coach of how important that is, in the field position battle. That's not going to get looked at a lot, but I'm really excited, and we talked about that after the game.
Nick, you guys got the ball back with about 6:11.
I'll come back.
You guys got the ball back with about 6:11 to play. By the time the Ravens got it back, the game was essentially over. What's it say about your team to be able to kill that much offense?
Tough, physical, and that's against a tough physical football team. We were able to convert on a 4th and 1. We were able to convert on a 3rd and 7, get them to use all their timeouts. And that was our thought in that process. We were going to run there because if we were in, at first we weren't in field goal range. We got ourselves into field goal range when we got that first down, or we got that first good run by Saquon. So great job by the offensive line because in those scenarios, it's going to be really muddy because they're going to load the box. They're going to try to do different things. And so good job by Kellen calling it there of the runs that he called in those scenarios, and good job by our guys executing. And then Saquon hits a crease and it gets us the first down. We get to a 4th and 1. What happened on the 3rd and 1 gave me a lot of confidence to go for it on the 4th and 1. And so good job there of those guys getting that push off the ball and that first quarterback sneak. Now that was a full yard. I thought we kind of got it there. They didn't give us a spot, and it's hard to see. And it gave me the confidence to go for it on the second one. As I was debating it, because that is a debatable one. Because you debate that and say, man, we go up 12 points. That's a big deal. Now they can't drive, get a field goal, get an onside kick, or get a stop, and now be able to beat you on the last one. So the guys that gave me a lot of confidence is Chauncey's like, just trust us. We'll stop them if we don't get it. And then Devontae's like, I love when Devontae tells me to just go for it. We're going to get that quarterback sneak. Devontae has nothing to do with us getting the quarterback sneak, even when he's on the field. But he's like, Coach, go for it. And you know what? That I love that about our team, that they have confidence in each other. I have confidence in them. They have confidence in each other. And that's not, again, that goes back to, that's not blind faith. That's faith based off of, results of what we've done. And so I was close to going for it. I was hesitant a little bit to go up 12. And then Devontae and Chauncey kind of nudged me over the edge right there to go for it. Good job by our offensive line. And Lane looks over at me, signals first down, gives me a thumbs up. Man, we got a tough offensive line. We got a tough defensive line. We got a tough football team.
Obviously, a big win over a good team. Had big wins over good teams last year, and last year's down the stretch did not turn well. Why do you feel like the way you're reacting to these wins differently?
Last year's over. We don't care about last year. We learned what we needed to learn from last year, and what we needed to do off of that. And this year is a different group of guys. It's a different group. This is a different team that's gelling and meshing on all cylinders right now. But with that being said, you're only as good as your last game. We got a big game coming up this weekend.
I know you want to singularly focus, but do you, in that realm, do you also let them know that if you stay that way, that the carrot of being the number 1 seed is there? Not at all.
I'm boring. We're going to be thinking about the Carolina Panthers. We're going to enjoy this one, and then we'll think about the Carolina Panthers. What I've learned in this league is if you look back, you're climbing this mountain, and I know I've used this analogy a lot, but you're climbing this mountain. If you look back and you're climbing a mountain, you look down, you're going to slip. If you look too far up, you're going to slip. All that our focus is on one game at a time. We can't control anything else that happens, and so our job is to control what we can control. That doesn't make for good press. That doesn't make for good stories. We're boring, but the monotony, the boring, the day by day grind is what gets results. And so we'll continue to keep narrow focus and focus on this next game.
That fourth quarter run game you talked about a lot wasn't just the touchdown. Saquon went for 14, and then I think it was Jalen for 11, then the touchdown. You talked about the physicality, obviously that's part of it, but do you guys hold stuff for the fourth quarter?
So there's some that you talk about in a 4-minute defense because you're going to get different defenses on 4-minute off. In 4-minute, then you'll get on first and second down. So every scenario is called for a little bit different things. You're going to get a little bit different stuff in the red zone. You're going to get a little different stuff in 4-minute. You're going to get a little different stuff throughout the game in different scenarios. So that's a part of our situational football that we think a lot about. Right. Jalen did a good job. Hey, Bob. Just can't say enough good things about how Jalen managed that 4-minute. And you'll say, "Oh, game manager." That's all bullshit. Like, Jalen played an awesome game, and his stats are going to say, right, we didn't throw it a lot. We were 11-19. He had 118 yards, but that guy made runs when he needed to make runs. He made good checks. He managed the game in a 4-minute to take the clock down to use as much time as he can. Man, Jalen, we haven't thrown it a lot in the fourth quarter in the past month and a half of the season, so. Jalen's stats aren't going to say that, but Jalen deserves, Saquon deserves to be in an MVP consideration. Jalen Hurts deserves to be in an MVP consideration because of how clean of football he's playing. Like, look at his quarterback rating throughout the last month and a half of the season. Like, Jalen Hurts is a winner, playing great football. He may not have the stats, but because his team's winning in the fourth quarter, he doesn't get to make those stats. But he's just done such a good job. AJ could be, as a guy. We have multiple guys that could be in consideration of that. Our offensive line. I wish they could give an offensive line MVP because our offensive line could be on that. And so I just can't say enough good things about how Jalen played in that football game. Even though the stat sheet's not going to reflect that because, Jalen was 11-19. Yeah, he was freaking on. He was on how he managed the game on fourth quarter. He was on about the runs that he made. He was on in the scrambles he made. He was on in the checks that he's made. He was on the third down conversions that we hit and the passes that he hit. This dude's a winner. And, yeah, he continues to play good football through our stretch.
All right. Thanks, folks.